Okay, so I'm taking a longer blade, and we want to get rid of the yellow and the brown because that part is basically inedible. So I'm gonna see how deep this goes. I'm sure it's all the way around, and actually it probably would be easier to do this if I went on ahead and just cut slices of it, and then we can do cross section and get rid of the pieces like that. So there we go. Yeah, and so as we get over to the other side here, we've got some really good milky white pieces that we don't have to worry about. And there we go. So these parts here, these pieces are edible. A little bit of yellowness there, but as you can see in the cross section, that you have your outer layer. Like I said, I've eaten this and it doesn't bother me, and you have your white in the middle, which is really what's sought after. So we're gonna discard the outer ring because it's very hard to get it clean, and just use the inner parts. So we're gonna set these pieces aside because these look pretty good. This piece, nope. So we're gonna go ahead and cut that off, and then I can take my blade and just kind of cut this around, get rid of, discard this. Too bad though, I wish the whole thing was nice and milky white. That'd be great, but it's not. So alright, and that looks okay to me. Go ahead and get rid of this. Oh, I hate it. I hate to. Such a good piece. Flip this over here, and I'm going to cut this out. So, really get rid of that. It looks like it's like a, I don't know if the camera's doing it justice, but it's like a egg yolk yellow, very light egg yolk yellow. So I'm gonna cut these pieces here, and again I'm gonna have to get a smaller blade. Give me a little bit more control to really be more surgical about removing the yellow parts here. Like that. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Set that aside, get rid of this here. There's more here. Get rid of. Alright. Get rid of these pieces here. And I have a little scouring brush. This is a clean one, fresh out of the package, and you use a potato scrubber or a little brush or like a scouring brush to clean off your mushrooms, because you pick them from the ground, so they're going to have they're going to be dirty, and so you want to clean them off. And then I'm also using this to kind of push away the stuff that we don't want. But a clean scouring brush would be good, and so just to keep this separate and uncontaminated, and using this to clean the sink or something like that, you just put this in a plastic bag once it's fully dried, and then hold that aside as a makeshift vegetable scrubber. So we're going to get the other half here. And we're going to go ahead and do the same. Just cut slices of it. And I got a nice big long I guess this would be a sashimi or a sushi knife. Just comes in handy because of its size. Cool. So on these last pieces over here, I've got a little bit that I can cut away just to be safe. And again, I can set this aside. And then we got some yellowing here. I think we'll be okay with that. It's not as dark as we get closer to the center. And the smell is a real like mushroomy smell, like the button mushrooms that you buy in the store. It smells just like that. It's really kind of a thick mushroomy odor. And so get that piece there. It's just like, oh man, a big old sponge cake. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Yeah, this piece looks good. There's a little bit of yellow there. Then I'll put that aside. Get rid of this. I am so glad there's not a ton of bugs in there. I'm really glad. It can be a scene from a horror movie, I can imagine. And I was hoping that wasn't going to be the case. And we're fortunate that it wasn't the case. So again, we're just getting rid of the bad parts that we can eat. So there's enough on here that we can make use of it, and enough to cook up now and enough to store for later. My understanding is this is also known as a breakfast mushroom because these go good with eggs. So that's my intention, is to cook some of this mushroom up with eggs. Okay. Get rid of this. So we're done with the long knife for now, and I'm going to go ahead and chop this off. Now this outer shell kind of separates fairly easy, so you can kind of get rid of this, and you just peel it off. It's really thick, but like I said, I kind of hate doing this because I will eat this, and so it's kind of wasteful in my mind. But I just know I'm not able to get it as clean as I'd like to, so I'm gonna just have to deal with it. So we take that off, throw this away. I'm sure you could fry this up. In fact, this is pretty clean. I might just do that. And then take our mushroom, and you can kind of cut it into cubes. To prepare and to store, like this. For storage purposes, you will have to saute them in a little bit of butter, and then you can freeze them. These don't keep very well raw frozen. As a tip, you never eat raw wild fungi. You always cook it first. Don't do it. It's a little bit too yellow. So as a rule of thumb, you just never eat raw mushrooms, wild mushrooms, fungi, funguses. Okay, so yeah, we cube this up like that. And another way to store these is to dehydrate them, which is what I will do, and then you powder them. And then put them in a bag or a jar and store them for later, and add them to soups or stews or whatever recipe calls for. Powdered mushroom, powdered puffball. Get rid of that and there. Okay, so this is what we're going to use to cook up in some eggs here, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish processing the rest over here.